watching this tonight. Hurricane Teddy churning across the North Atlantic, heading for Nova Scotia. It's still a Category 2 hurricane, but it's expected to lessen to a post-tropical storm when it makes landfall tomorrow. That is still bad, though. Strong winds are expected to whip up huge waves. Swells of up to 10 meters could bring significant flooding to coastal areas. Near Halifax tonight, people living in high-risk regions along the shoreline are being asked to evacuate immediately. Our Ross Lord is further to the east in Port Hastings on Cape Breton Island. Ross.
Well, Donna, this wind and rain is just an early taste of what's coming as Teddy bears down on Atlantic Canada. Mark Dacey just arrived in Cape Breton on a sailing trip with his wife and their son. Despite emerging from quarantine, they're in no position to cut loose. In fact, they're doubling down on their rope lines.
And we've also tied around the dock, the lines around the dock rather than on the cleats, because there is a strong chance in these conditions that the cleats will rip out.
The Canadian Hurricane Centre placed the entire south coast of Nova Scotia under a tropical storm warning. Emergency planners say losing hurricane status doesn't make Teddy harmless.
I know people are attracted to the shoreline. They love to watch the waves. I just want to caution folks, please stay back.
Back at the yacht club, they're worried about what will happen when winds shift on Wednesday during the expected height of the storm.
And if we get that southwest wind at a high tide with a surge, yeah, we could experience some difficulties, and the parking lot here will likely be underwater.
We're going to be in the top floor of their building in sleeping bags because it's not safe to be on a boat in this kind of weather.
By way of context, Hurricane Juan in 2003 did $200 million worth of damage and is blamed for 4 deaths. Hurricane Dorian last year also left a trail of devastation. Forecasters say Teddy is no Juan and no Dorian, but it could still be dangerous.
Tonight, flood advisories are posted for 500 miles of the Gulf Coast from Texas to New Orleans. The slow-moving remnants of Tropical Storm Beta are pounding the region with heavy rain, more than a foot in some areas. Many rescues have been made along washed-out roads. Here's CBS's Janet Shamlian.
A city submerged, Houston underwater, cars and trucks stranded on miles of flooded roads. Tropical Storm Beta making landfall along the coast, then lashing southeast Texas.
This storm is barely moving. It has been raining nonstop like this since late last night. And Houston, which floods even during a moderate rain, cannot absorb all this water.
Bayous overflowing their banks. Some areas are inundated by more than a foot of relentless rain.
How worried are you?
Very worried. Every time it rains, we start worrying, especially after Harvey.
Many were caught off guard. This man ditched his car just in time. Others ignoring the warnings.
Where does he think he's going?
More than 100 high water rescues in Houston as the now tropical depression barely budges.
Let's hope this system will start moving at a quicker pace.
5 other storms have already hit the Gulf this year. Some homes are still without power almost a month later. Tonight, there is more rain in the forecast. No relief for a storm-weary region. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Houston.
Concern is along Clear Creek on the south side of town.
Yeah, so we have multiple crews monitoring the water levels. We start with ABC 13's Nick Notario, and he's been talking with the residents who live along Dixie Farm Road. Nick?
Yeah, you would think looking around here that this is a Summer Lakes community, but it's not. These are actually the main roads in and out, and you can see just how deep the water is right now as I step up here. It comes up to almost my knee, and now while the water has not entered the homes in this area, that's not the case for all people that live along Clear Creek.
For a Pearland family, this was their dream home. A family of 5 moved into it a month ago. realizing it would become lakefront property.
I'm just flabbergasted, I guess, is really what I just didn't expect this from this little bitty tropical storm that's out there that was supposed to bring a couple inches of rain.
The house is located near Clear Creek. As Tropical Storm Beta pounded the area with rain, the creek spilled from its banks and entered the Hale's new home.
It came in from this front one up here, and then after about 30 minutes, it started coming in through all the toilets, all 3 toilets. And so it creeped into the living room, it creeped in everywhere.
Luckily, family members were able to save a lot of their goods before it became worse.
But it kind of made it easier to move everything off the floor, too, because it was still in boxes. So we could just move everything upstairs.
They weren't the only ones living near Clear Creek in Pearland to get water into their homes. At least a half dozen houses near the creek also experienced flooding. Neighbors say they haven't seen this type of flooding since Hurricane Harvey 3 years ago. Because of Harvey, the Hales knew this could be an issue, but they weren't expecting it to come during their first month.
It's really sad. I really like the house. We loved it because of the land. It's whatever.
For that family there. You know, the neighbors here are trying to make the best of it. I mean, look at this guy. He's got a motorized boat just going down the main street here in the neighborhood. So it's going to be a while before the water recedes here. Obviously, they're nervous with more rain on the way. And, you know, the water continues to creep closer to their homes. We're live in Pearland. Nick Vittorio, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
So also along Clear Creek, again, this tough spot that we're watching very closely is ABC 13's Micah Hatfield.
Yeah, Clear Creek is notorious for this. She's east of the Gulf Freeway this time. Micah, looks like a pretty serious scene behind you.
Hey, good afternoon, Eric and Alona. We are right on Clear Creek. We are further down than where Nick is. We're in League City, and the water is elevated, as you can imagine, but you really have to look at things for reference to figure out just how high it is. So we want to show you this piece of construction equipment. The water has actually almost come up over the top of that piece of equipment. We were talking to some of the people who live around here, and they were telling us about boat ramps they have. They were telling us about fences they have, none of which we could actually see because the water has come up so high. And you can also see how quickly the current is moving here in Clear Creek. Right now, it's measuring at 8 foot 7 inches, but the county says that flooding is likely when it hits 6 feet.
Many of the homes have been razed after they flooded in previous hurricanes. They don't believe water will get inside their homes, but residents of Clear Creek Village say the water has risen quickly during Tropical Storm Beta, and they know there's supposed to be another day of it. What is a concern is the new I-45 bridge over Clear Creek.
And they have added 2 new bridges to it, the feeder bridges, in the past probably year and a half. And adding more bridges adds more pylons, and they just work together to kind of create a dam. It backs up the water as debris gets caught in it, and it's really a struggle for our neighborhood and everyone up creek from us.
And that's one of the reasons that the people who live out here in this neighborhood, Clear Creek Village, have spent so much time getting all their lawn furniture and everything they can out of the back of their home so it doesn't float away and end up here under the 45 bridge. Because they say during Harvey there were mattresses, there were jet skis, there was all sorts of things that were really creating a dam and caused such an issue for them. But that is the bridge that we're standing on, the I-45 bridge. And they tell us that during Harvey, the water was actually over the bridge. Fortunately, it doesn't look like it will get to that point during this storm, but the neighbors do worry how the structure of the bridge will be compromised because of all of this water. Live in League City, Micah Hatfield, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
We want to take you to a different spot along the Gulf Freeway. We showed you at the top of the newscast this damage that was left behind. This is after several massive trees fell right down on several cars that were parked there. Take a look at these images.
Yeah, ABC 13 reporter Maya Shea live at that location near Wayside. So everybody's wondering what happened here because this really was not a wind event we were dealing with. Maya?
Yeah, you know, the ground's just saturated, and when you have a tree with some problems because it's age or whatnot, it just kind of gave up, and that's what happened here. Take a look at this tree. Yeah, the trunk right here. This actually went up around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, according to residents. They just heard a loud crack, and bam, the tree fell over. 4 cars just crushed. Right now, you have a professional crew out here. There's about 7 or 8 guys they're doing a good job. They got a safety harness on, they got the chainsaw, they're trying to take this tree apart and move it. Not really you can do with the cars. I tell you what, you see the Saturn right here, this first car, the most severely damaged? That is the only mode of transportation for a young single mother of 2. I just spoke to her a few minutes ago when I asked her what she's going to do. She got very emotional. Take a listen.
Well, I'm a single mother of 2, and this is actually my only vehicle. So, I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, nothing much I can do. So, just leave it at that.
Yeah, she's just heartbroken because she doesn't know how she's going to replace the car because it's a rental apartment. There's no guarantee. She says that the landlord will step up and actually pay for another vehicle. We do know that these crews were asked by the management to come out here. They are slowly working through the tree. Some parts of the tree easier to take apart than others. It's a big size tree, so not sure how much longer they will be here, but they're doing the best they can in this driving rain. Folks here say they just feel lucky, you know. This happened 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It's a working neighborhood. Everybody uses their car to get to work, and they're lucky it didn't happen a couple hours later when somebody could have been hit. So it's a tough situation, but at least nobody was hurt. Back to you guys.
Oh, you feel for that mother right there. Hopefully somebody sees this and just has a solution to the big problem she's dealing with right now. Maya, thank you for that. Yeah, we know Steve Campion has been watching the water levels there. We know, Steve, at some point you can see that huge rain gauge they have on the side of the bridge, and you've been watching that all day for the most part.
We certainly have, Eric. I'll tell you this about the good old Buffalo right now. It is wet out here. It has been raining consistently throughout the day, sometimes not so much, and then it gets very persistent like it is right now. So right now here in downtown Houston, the rain is falling. You are looking at the Buffalo Bayou. You can see that it is swollen. That current is moving pretty fast. And all day we've been out here exploring in and around downtown Houston because
Pretty good fire down the 09 road. All of our holding resources Looking for hot spots over the 09 road, cooling down some of the heavies. Fire's consuming really well. We're getting some good depth. And we got Crane Valley Hotshots here filling up their drip cans for their drip torches and getting ready to bring some more fire down the road.
This problem has a lot to do with trees, or more specifically, their roots. Some of them are still on fire, and folks heading up there to check on their homes or fire damage might not even realize it.
So we're up here on Hill Street, and we're just doing spot checks for smoldering and for any trees that need to come down.
Don Tesdall took this video over the weekend in Detroit. A volunteer firefighter with the Idana Detroit Fire District, Tesdall was back up there doing fire mop-up when he came across a serious problem many might miss.
You do not want to fall in that. This is everywhere. We're going to put this out, but these things are all over the hillside.
From above the mound, it might look just like a little smoke, but below it is an active fire just waiting for the chance to get out.
You've got a 1,200-degree fire going on right next to somebody's house, and this can just spread. So we're going to put this out.
Well, if you didn't know any better, you could probably find yourself with 2 legs knee-deep in one of those holes. And it doesn't take long at 1,200 degrees to burn the shoes right off your feet.
Tesdall posted the video to inform the community of what is going on in Detroit.
Oh my gosh, this is my house.
One of his first posts was last week, showing what the fire did to his own home.
This is all that's left in my house.
The reason why I've been posting these videos is to give the community an idea of what's going on.
It's extremely hazardous up here right now. So
in this case, underground, where you can't see, hidden fires and root systems that could burn undetected for months.
You know, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we still have a lot of this stuff going on well into February.
Fires that not only pose a danger to those walking on the ground above them, but for anyone even near them.
It becomes like clay. You walk over the top of it and it just breaks. It's real fragile. So it wouldn't take very much for a very dangerous tree to just topple down onto the highway.
Because the fire district is all volunteer, it has nowhere near the number of chainsaws and tools it needs to deal with the dangerous trees. It's hoping donations will help with that. Because these firefighters know their work is far from over, and so are the dangers.
We're still trying to save houses. There's still plenty we're saving up here, and it's still plenty dangerous.
If you'd like to help out these volunteer firefighters who have done so much over the last couple of weeks, there is a donation tab on the Idana Detroit Fire District webpage. We've got a link to that site on KGW.com. In Portland, Keely Chalmers, KGW News.
Trump, a move to cement a more conservative Supreme Court for a generation.
Today it is my honor to nominate one of our nation's most brilliant and gifted legal minds to the Supreme Court, Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett joined in the Rose Garden by her husband and their 7 children.
While I am a judge, I'm better known back home as a room parent, carpool driver, and birthday party planner.
She's now set to fill the seat left vacant by Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death.
Justice Ginsburg began her career at a time when women were not welcome in the legal profession. But she not only broke glass ceilings, she smashed them.
Unlike Ginsburg, Barrett is a committed conservative. The federal appeals court judge, well-liked by the president, key Republicans, and many on the religious right. Her Catholic faith, a core value, and central to questions about how she'd rule on issues like abortion.
If confirmed, I would not assume that role for the sake of those in my own circle, and certainly not for my own sake. I would assume this role to serve you.
Barrett's nomination, instantly controversial, in part for its timing. A Supreme Court justice has never been put on the bench so close to an election.
I'm sure it'll be extremely non-controversial.
Now, with Republicans controlling the Senate, the question's not so much if Barrett will be confirmed, but how soon, with confirmation hearings expected mid-October.
We need a full court, and I think that's possible before the election.
Democrats working to cast the process as illegitimate.
Tell them to abide by Justice Ginsburg's last honorable wish, and that is let the next president decide.
For President Trump, a legacy moment during his term appointing more than 200 federal judges and, if Barrett is confirmed, 3 Supreme Court justices, a record reshaping the federal judiciary and tilting the high court to the right with a 6-3 conservative majority for years to come.
And Hallie, Joe Biden has just weighed in on the nomination.
He has, Jose. The former vice president is focusing on the implications for Obamacare. He's pointing to Barrett's past critique of the court's landmark 2012 ruling on the Affordable Care Act. You're seeing other top Democrats taking a similar strategy, too, focusing specifically on health care in the hopes that'll motivate voters who benefit from the law. Jose?
Hallie Jackson at the White House, thank you. If confirmed, Barrett could serve for decades. Pete Williams now with more on her life and her credentials.
At age 48, Amy Coney Barrett would become the youngest member of the Supreme Court, able to serve for decades to come. A native of New Orleans, she went to college in Tennessee and graduated from law school at Notre Dame, where she taught law for 15 years and is a devout Catholic. She knows the Supreme Court as a former law clerk to Justice Antonin Scalia. When she was a student, she co-wrote a law review article that said Catholic judges are morally precluded from enforcing the death penalty. In 2003, she suggested that a key Supreme Court decision upholding Roe v. Wade and a right to abortion was wrongly decided. President Trump nominated her to the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals, based in Chicago, 3 years ago. At her appeals court confirmation, Democrats wondered whether she'd put her Catholic faith above the law.
You have a long history of believing that your religious beliefs should prevail.
But she said she would decide cases based on the law.
It's never appropriate for a judge to impose that judge's personal convictions, whether they derive from faith or anywhere else, on the law.
The Senate confirmed Barrett to the appeals court by a vote of 55-43. As a judge, she's been supportive of gun rights and voted to uphold a Chicago law preventing abortion opponents from approaching women entering a clinic. She also wrote a decision making it easier for students to sue universities that discipline them for sexual misconduct when they claim they did not get a fair hearing.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. U.S. President Donald Trump sparked a tense standoff tonight after picking his nominee for the Supreme Court. Late today, Trump named Judge Amy Coney Barrett as his candidate, a favorite among Republican conservatives, largely because she supports the religious right.
Today it is my honor to nominate one of our nation's most brilliant and gifted legal minds to the Supreme Court. She is a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution, Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Trump is trying to force the confirmation before the November election. The president's push to fill the vacancy and today's announcement has outraged Democrats, who say the move will alter the ideological makeup of America's most powerful court for years. Here's Jennifer Johnson.
If confirmed by the U.S. Senate, Judge Amy Coney Barrett would cement a conservative majority on the U.S. Supreme Court, replacing one of its most outspoken liberals, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Supreme Court justices serve lifetime appointments. At 48 years old, Barrett would be the youngest justice and could help reshape the law for generations to come.
Hopefully we'll be on that court for 50 years, 5-0.
A claim that ignited Trump supporters at a campaign rally Friday night. Barrett, a devout Catholic widely backed by evangelicals, is a married mother of 7. She is considered to be anti-abortion and against same-sex marriage. Many fear if she's confirmed, the country's landmark Roe v. Wade decision giving women the right to abortion would be in jeopardy. In 2016, Barrett predicted a conservative court wouldn't overturn Roe, but put more limits on abortions.
I don't think the core case, that Roe's core holding that, women have a right to an abortion, I don't think that would change. But I think the question of whether people can get very late-term abortions, how many restrictions can be put on clinics. I think that would change.
Barrett had already been vetted by the White House before the president decided to nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh in July 2018. Her nomination now goes to the Republican-controlled U.S. Senate, which will move quickly on her confirmation hearing.
I believe it is critical that we confirm that nominee before Election Day. I believe we will have the votes to do that and get it done.
Barrett could possibly be seated in time to rule on lawsuits arising from the presidential election should President Trump lose and question the validity of millions of mail-in ballots. Democrats are vowing to fight her confirmation as they did in 2017 after the president nominated her to serve on the federal appeals court.
Dogma lives loudly within you, and that's of concern.
But right now, Democrats don't have enough votes to stop Barrett from taking a seat on America's highest court. Jennifer Johnson, Global News, Washington.
Here with the reaction to the president's nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. And what's next? Senator Lindsey Graham, chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee that actually holds the hearing. All right. Good evening, Senator Graham. Thank you for being with us tonight. All right. You are chair of the committee that conducts the hearings. When do you expect these hearings to start?
October the 12th. That'll be 16 days from nomination, and 24 of the 42 Supreme Court justices who've had hearings were done within 16 days. Kennedy, 14, Stevens, 10, Powell, 12, Rehnquist, 12, Blackmun, 14, Chief Justice Berger, 11. So 16 days from now, we'll start the hearings on October the 12th. Monday will be introduction, opening statements, a statement by the nominee. Tuesday and Wednesday will be question days, and Thursday we will begin the markup process.
All right. Now, Senator, you were involved in obviously the Judiciary Chair during the Kavanaugh hearings, and I want you to listen to what you said then.
Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham.
Do you think, Senator, that these hearings for Amy Coney Barrett will be, number one, as bad as they were for Kavanaugh? And number two, what, if anything, can you do to stop that?
Well, number one, the nominee will be challenged, and that's appropriate to challenge the nominee. But if they treat Judge Barrett like they did Justice Kavanaugh, it's going to blow up in their face big time. Why is it the conservatives get treated this badly? Clarence Thomas, Judge Bork, Alito, Kavanaugh, if they continue this pattern of trying to demean this outstanding nominee, I think the American people will push back and push back hard. Kavanaugh really did help Republicans pick up Senate seats because they went too far.
Now, there was talk initially that the Democrats might even boycott being at the hearing. Do you expect that to be the case?
Well, it'll make them quicker. We're going to have hearings. Again, half of the Supreme Court nominations have had hearings within 16 days, over half. Justice Berger was confirmed in 17 days. John Paul Stevens, 19 days. So there's nothing unusual about the time period. We've never confirmed somebody in an election year after July. But I expect they will show up, and I expect they will challenge Judge Barrett about the law. I will expect they'll ask her questions about her faith and does it influence her decision making. And three things you need to know about America. The government can't establish a religion. We don't like the government picking one religion over the other. Right. Every American has the free exercise of religion to pick their faith or not have faith at all. And the Constitution guarantees that your religious preference cannot be used against you if you're chosen for a job like this. So I expect those three things to fall in place here. I expect her to be confirmed. Okay. I expect that she'll make an incredibly good impression on the American people.
I don't have a lot of time, Senator. How long do you think before she will be confirmed? How long do you think?
Well, I hope to get her out of the Well, I hope to get her out of the committee by the 26th of October. That will allow us to follow the normal rules of the committee, and that'd be up to Mitch McConnell what to do after that. But we'll start on the 12th. We'll have 4 days of hearings. Then we'll hold over the nomination for a week, consistent with the rules of the Judiciary Committee, and hopefully we'll come to the floor around the 26th. And that will be up to Mitch McConnell.
And